The Moku i7S is still an emulation beast if you ask me. This thing has so much potential, and in this video I also want to explain why I'm still using this device after having like a zillion of these freaking handhelds. Because there was one particular thing I really love about it, that is the reason also I wanted to share it now in this video. But first, I really like how it feels. And I mean with this, like the weight itself, it weighs in total 340 grams. And when you're looking at, let's say, your typical handheld, it's the same. But this thing has so much more to offer when it comes to your typical Anbenic product. So for me, the most important thing is that we're going to have like an all-in-one device. Yeah, of course you can get yourself a phone, get yourself a controller, slap it together, and you basically have the same idea. But for me, I just wanted to have a device that has all the capabilities of a phone, but also have the option for let's play some games very easy on the go. And there are some things like the speakers I really love. But of course also this product will have a pros and cons, because so far I know there is no perfect handheld, or better said like product out there. But there are some things that I really love about it. So to begin with, what I like about it is just I can play my casual, let's say Android games. And that is something I really love. I have a lot of, let's say, these devices, but this is one of the ones I'm always grabbing. Simply I just want to play some casual games and enjoy some emulation on the go. So this device comes packed with a beautiful full HD display. And of course, because it's only a very tiny display compared with your casual tablet, it looks even sharper and it looks very nice. In combination with the touch capacity, then we're going to get the option to play more casual games and don't have any restrictions when it comes to Android. Maybe in the future we'll see some new devices like the Retro Pocket 2 Plus that also have like touch, but sometimes I just want to have a big beautiful display. And that is what I'm going to get with the Moku i7S. So I already mentioned, what I really like about a device is that it got good audio. And for the people who didn't know, now you know. And this thing has some amazing speakers. I will let you hear it. Okay, so it comes with a beautiful display and amazing audio, but there are some things that I don't really like. So let's talk about the first thing. So it's a very thin device, and the problem with this is like I need to put my hands in a very weird position, so it's not super comfortable to play for hours and hours. So it's a little bit of a bummer they never made like a special grip for it. Look at the PlayStation Vita, they made grips for it and made it way better when it comes to that. That makes it more comfortable. But okay, so there are some things that are quite interesting with this. To begin with, let's talk about the left side of the handheld. So with the Moku i7S model, we're going to get touch. In this case, we're going to get a select button over here. Then here we're going to get ourselves the D-pad that is more like a clickies D-pad. It's kind of weird, you really need to get used to. Then we're going to get a nice high quality analog stick, but not like one with an L3 function. So that's a little bit of a bummer. Okay, so at the right side, then we're going to get the 4 buttons. Think about, let's say, the ABHY, let's just call it that. And the touch itself, it's like the same clickies, let's say the micro switch click. I personally really like it, and again, you need to get used to it because these buttons are quite tiny. Then the same story with the joystick without a click, and here we're going to get the touch for the start. At the top we're going to get only one set of shoulder buttons. And there's where we're going to get the biggest problem, especially when you want to play some, well, let's say retro games. Think about PlayStation 1, Sega Dreamcast, GameCube. Here we're going to get the volume control and of course the on and off switch. Okay, so normally we're going to get like the shitty cameras, but now we're also going to get a pretty decent one, because it's more like a phone. So yeah, you can basically call with the thing. But also you can call with it. It has a front face camera, so if you want to use it for functionalities, if you want to have a meeting, then we're going to get the option to have a microphone over here, so we can use this thing like a mobile phone. So yeah, it's a kind of weird combination. Personally I never use this, but it's in here. Okay, so the thing is like, and that is a little bit of a bummer, they should make this thing like without a phone functionality. Make it slightly cheaper, improve some things, add some extra shoulder buttons and give ourselves an extra grip, and it would be so much better. This thing would be like the next level emulation beast. That brings us, by the way, to the nerdy talk, the chat. The chat about the specifications. I would not be surprised that when you're looking at the specifications, we're going to get handhelds for maybe the same price amount, or a slightly little bit more expensive, having better specs, and makes this thing obsolete. Yeah, that is what is always happening with the tech. But overall, the specifications were not bad, even now when I'm making this video, and it gives us a lot of potential when it comes to playing some Android games, but also emulation. But if you just want to play some Android games, games like Genshin Impact, These games are, so far I understand, completely touch based, but you can basically like do a little bit of a cheating. So when you're opening up the special menu over here called key adapter, with the key adapter what you can do is mapping your physical buttons in the game itself, which you can see over here. There are these tiny icons, so when you set them all up you can basically hide them and you can play touch-based games with a physical controller. But playing Android games, I enjoyed it so much on the Moku i7s. But what about emulation? Yeah, what about it? It's very simple. When we're having now the Play Store, we can basically go into the Play Store and get ourselves the emulators that you want. For example, for Sega Dreamcast, we can download the Dream emulator. You got yourself a free demo, but if you're going to pay a little bit of extra money, you're going to get yourself unlocking this piece of software and have a lot of new capabilities, even upscaling to full HD and 4K. Okay, so let's start with Sega Dreamcast. I did some messing around with it. 4K is something you cannot run on the device itself, but for full HD you're going to get an amazing performance. But one thing I noticed that you really need to get used to the controls itself. The D-pad is something I get used very fast. But the only thing I'm noticing, like sometimes I'm bumping with my right. Well, so if you're going to play some Sega Dreamcast, and we're going to check out the more demanding games, it runs without any hassle. Dum 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 dum. And I keep saying it, the audio is amazing on this piece of hardware. Okay, so if you're going to look into Sega Dreamcast, here we're going to get like the line that you cannot emulate every single game on the full 60 FPS, even including like frame skipped enabled with the original 640 by 480 internal resolution. So it's so demanding, especially when it comes to Android devices. You need quite a beefy specifications if you want to run this game and multiple games 60 FPS. So next up, let's try PlayStation Portable. And with this, you will see it's going to be like a mixed performance. Tekken 6 seems to be running just okay to enjoy. But when you want to try some God of War, it will not work. That is just the main problem with these devices. And it looks amazing on the Moku i7s in combination with the perfect audio. But I was quite surprised to see that Wipeout seems to be running also very well. Because most of the time on Tekken 6 runs okay. And I mean, like with a couple of dips, Wipeout has a lot of issues. But even with the new GameCube emulator build, yeah, sadly I couldn't get F-Zero GX to run perfectly. This GameCube freaking game is so demanding that it still has a lot of issues playing it. It's a little bit of a bummer, so here we're going to see that still even up to today, where the emulator is getting way better now, is that some of these devices are not capable of to run it. You can see like it's getting there, it's becoming slightly better when I'm playing some games, but in my opinion this is just freaking unplayable. But yeah guys, so this is the reason I wanted to make a video about the Moku i7s. So the device itself has so much potential. The only thing that basically holds it against it is that it has quite a big price tag. So there's a little bit of a bummer with these things. Always when it comes to Android devices, you want to play some, let's say, more demanding games. Sadly, it kills himself. because it's way too expensive. Okay, so where the competition is getting like improving the systems, Moku i7s is in my opinion still the king, and the reason why, because with this Android capability we can basically play Android games and also like having some fun with some emulation. Still, if it has some more juice, we can run GameCube perfectly. There are some games on GameCube that will run eventually. Think about Mario Kart, stuff like that. But then overall, like, it's a little bit of a mixed performance with the high-end stuff. But still, if you're looking at new devices now, I did notice the new GPD is out. It still has the same issues like this one. So is there a big improvement in Android land? In my opinion, not really at the moment. In the future we will see what you're going to get. But again, if this thing gets cheaper, it would be like a way better piece of hardware to get. Because with most handhelds, even they look nice fancy, play a lot of retro games, I'm always missing the lack of a touchscreen or the capabilities of running, let's say, Android with a Play Store. I want to thank you for watching, consider subscribing, hit that little bell, become one of the Wicked family, and I will see you in the next video.